Welcome. Today is October 20th, 2025, and Haley, Nicole, and myself are here to provide the Southeast River Forecast Center's October Water Resources Outlook. In the past month, temperatures in the southeast have mostly been 2 to 6 degrees above normal, and precipitation has been below normal, except for some locations along the Atlantic coast. Nicole will tell us a bit more about our recent weather and impacts, then Haley will provide us with an outlook on the short-term weather we can expect.
Over the last 30 days, most of the southeast has had at or below normal rainfall. The exceptions to this include the eastern Florida coast and eastern South Carolina, which saw rainfall totals of over 10 inches. Typically, this would be due to tropical systems impacting the southeast. However, this year's tropical season has not had many systems impacting. Most of the rainfall observed in South Carolina was due to a coastal low that mostly stayed offshore, but still had some impact to the region. Almost the entirety of the southeast has had much below normal rainfall over the last 90 days. Eastern North Carolina is a notable dry area of the region, with the most widespread 8+ inch deficits. South Carolina and Georgia now have more areas of above normal rainfall compared to last month. The year-to-date departure from normal has changed since last month. The coastal low that impacted eastern South Carolina has made that area more positive, rather than a negative departure from normal that we saw last month. Notably, Alabama and North Carolina have more negative anomalies. The 28-day average streamflow in the southeast shows more basins in the below normal or much below normal categories compared to last month, especially in western Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Drought conditions have worsened over the last month, with some areas of western Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and southeast Georgia now in the extreme drought category. There are more areas of the southeast now in a moderate drought than last month as well. The only areas of improvement were in eastern and southern Florida and coastal South Carolina, mostly due to the rainfall observed in the last month. We have now reached week 43 of the year, which is a typical low point of flooding for the southeast. Now that the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season is behind us, we can expect this to continue over the next few weeks. We are nearing the end of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season with just a few weeks left to go. The typical peak of the season has come and gone with minimal tropical systems impacting the southeast. The official end of the season is November 30th. I will now hand it off to Haley to discuss the upcoming weather pattern we have to look forward to before we go to Shelby to discuss the long-term outlook.
Most of the southeast will feel a little more fall-like today as we remain cool and dry under a post-frontal air mass. However, chances for showers and storms remain for portions of South Florida where the front hasn't quite pushed through. As we get into Tuesday, a cold front stretching down from a system moving over the Great Lakes region will bring chances for rain to portions of the region. However, chances are low and any rain seen is expected to be light. Behind the front, high pressure once again makes its way over the southeast, and weather is expected to be cooler and drier again. And this pattern continues into Thursday as well. As we near the weekend on Friday, high pressure still remains in control over the region, but a system will be starting to approach from the west, threatening a return of rain to the area. The system continues to creep east Saturday, with rain in the forecast for the lower Mississippi Valley and parts of the southeast, mainly Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of far northwestern Georgia, though the highest totals, which are generally anything above half an inch, are forecast to largely be confined to Mississippi. By the end of the forecast period Sunday, the system starts to lose a little steam and look less organized, but chances for rain, largely around a half inch or less, are still in the forecast for parts of the SCRFC area. Portions of the Atlantic coast also see some rain chances return to the forecast, with a weakness in the ridge situated close by. While there are several days with chances for rain over the next week, the forecast amounts are not that substantial until you get into parts of northwest Alabama and into Mississippi, so drought relief is not expected for most over the next 7 days. However, the latest Climate Prediction Center 8 to 14 day outlook provides some hope of drought relief, with all of the southeast outlooked with chances for above normal rainfall within the 8 to 14 day period. Switching gears briefly to the tropical side, there are no expected impacts to the U.S. over the next 7 days, outside of maybe some rain over Puerto Rico. However, eyes are on a disturbance in the Caribbean with an 80% chance of formation in the next 7 days. Again, while no impacts to the U.S. are currently in the forecast other than possibly portions of Puerto Rico being brushed with heavy rain, uncertainty remains and it is important to stay aware of any potential changes to the forecast. The latest tropical forecast information can be found at the National Hurricane Center's website at nhc.noaa.gov.
Thanks, Haley, for taking us through the rainfall and tropical forecast for the rest of October and beginning of November. Since our last water resources outlook, the absence of U.S. landfalls of Atlantic hurricanes has continued. Though our only U.S. landfall was Tropical Storm Chantal, there have in total been 12 named storms this season. 4 of these systems became hurricanes, while the others remained tropical storms during their time. As you heard from Haley, storms are still forming, so you should continue to monitor for tropical updates. Though the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook alluded to rain leaning above normal, overall, the month of November is leaning below normal for the southeast in precipitation. The Carolinas and most of Georgia have a 40 to 50% chance of being below normal, while the percent chance is less in Alabama and Florida. South Florida has an equal chance of being normal, below normal, or above normal. This outlook furthers that the rainy season in Florida has concluded and a drier pattern is developing. As of October 9th, a La Niña advisory has been issued. This means that La Niña conditions are present. These conditions are favored to continue through February 2026, and there is a 55% chance of interneutral re-emerging in the January through March 2026 time period. In the southeast, La Niña winters are typically drier and warmer than neutral winter seasons. This is because the jet stream does not meander deep enough into the south. Though this winter La Niña is expected to be weak and brief, we previously saw its impacts in the November rainfall outlook, and we will continue to see the rest of the fall and winter lean below normal. That brings us to our precipitation outlook for December 2025 through February 2026. The northern tier of the southeast has a 30 to 50% chance of below normal precipitation, while the Florida Panhandle, South Georgia, and coastal South Carolina show a greater chance of below normal precipitation. Central and South Florida are not as influenced by La Niña pattern, and thus the precipitation probabilities have a chance of normal, below, or above normal. With interneutral likely to return in March, the February through April 2026 precipitation outlook does not lean as strongly in probabilities of below normal as we saw on the previous slide. Though we do continue to see probabilities of below normal rainfall across the southern tier of the United States during that period. So, the bottom line, in the short term, we will see some frontal events move through the area, though they are not expected to bring significant rainfall that will diminish drought development. We are also still monitoring the tropics as the Atlantic hurricane season does not officially end until November 30th. In the long term, we are already observing La Niña conditions, and these are expected to continue through February 2026. Even though we are in a La Niña, the dry seasonal outlooks for the winter vary in chances of below normal rainfall from the La Niña pattern due to its strength and short duration. We will be back on November 20th for our next water resources outlook.